You may recall Miller American failed to finish Heat 1A, and they may be done for the afternoon. Jim Hendrick?
We'll try to find out for you, Don, exactly what the story is down here in the Miller American camp. Chip, I understand you withdrawn.
Yes, we've had to. We've got some problems that unfortunately we just can't solve.
Will you have it ready by the Gold Cup?
Well, you know, there's never any guarantees. All I can guarantee is that everybody involved with this operation will do everything they can to have us there.
Can you give us a brief nature of your problems?
It's temperature, and the big nemesis of turbines is temperature, and we can't control it. Apparently some of the other turbine teams can, and our hats are off to them because right now we haven't been able to solve it.
Well, the good competitor's been taken out of this race, Chip, and we'll see you on the circuit, I'm sure.
We'll be back.
Don?
Jim, let's get a reaction from some of the other camps about the Miller. The Miller's withdrawn, Steve Woomer. You were going to face him in 2A, but now there's only 2 turbines left.
Well, obviously, they're saving their equipment for the Detroit race. The Gold Cup's only 2 weeks away, and salt's hard on the turbine engines. But
they're saying the same thing, though. Temperature's been a real problem for them.
well, it's been for us also, but we've managed to bring it down a little bit in this last heat. And after all, this is the first heat we've ever finished in saltwater, so we're pretty tickled about that. We'll be in 2A.
We've also gotten word that the Frank Kenny Volvo has dropped out, so he's done with for the day, and we've only got 3 boats in Heat 2A. 3 very good drivers and 3 good boats, however. And look at the threatening skies above Miami's skyline. Although we get wet before the day is over with. Here are the 3 existing remaining boats for Heat 2A. On the inside is the Miss Madison. In the middle, the Bud Turbine. On the outside, the 711. Here comes Heat 2A. That machine gun-like sounds coming from the 711. That's a compressor stall, which means the temperature is too high in that boat. We'll see if the 711 can continue. In the meantime, in lane number 1, in first place, Ron Snyder of the Miss Madison. In lane number 2, the Bud Turbine. And again, you hear the struggling 711 with those temperature problems. But if they can finish, they'll pick up another 225 points.
He just let him go around that fast.
Steve Woomer saying just keep it going.
Last time going real slow.
Temperature's
Jumping way up there. So a lot of concern coming out of the 711 camp. The boat's still running, and of course they don't want to damage the engine any further, but if they can get the points without hurting the boat, they will do so. Back to the 2-boat race. In first place on the right, Ron Snyder and the Miss Madison going against the state-of-the-art boat, the Budweiser Turbine, and Jim Kropfeld out of Cincinnati, Ohio. You got 2 drivers from Cincinnati. Check that, Jim Kropfeld from Cincinnati, but Ron Snyder from Piqua, Ohio. 2 mid-American guys going at it and having a lot of fun on this Sunday afternoon in Miami. The turbine with more horsepower on the way outside, trying to keep up the RPMs and the boat speed. On the inside, Snyder hugging the buoys and trying to hold on to lane number 1. Reynolds trying to stay alive and pick up another 225 points. Kropfeld on the outside, better than 25 years experience in hydroplane racing. On the inside, Ron Snyder, who started this sport back in 1976. He was Rookie of the Year, as a matter of fact, and got his first victory in 1978. And he's fighting off his fellow Ohioan, Jim Kropfeld, in the Budweiser Turbine on the outside. The 2 boats averaging around 102 miles per hour.
You better get him down that chute.
You better win for the point.
Yeah, well, you no kidding. Come on, Chip.
Bernie Little talking with crew chief Ron Brown, concerned about points, and maybe Jim Kropfeld staying a little too close to Ron Snyder and the Miss Madison. Snyder, a foxy old fella who knows how to hold off the hot boats, especially when he's in lane number 1. He will give Jim Kropfeld all he wants before this heat is over with, I guarantee it. Now a rooster tail lead for Snyder. The crowd loving every bit of it. All 30,000 people standing up and cheering Snyder, trying to hold off the Bud. Back to Steve Reynolds in the 711, staying alive. Ron Snyder, kind of like a Wild Bill Hickok, riding down there in open cockpit behind the engine and getting every inch of power out of that boat that he possibly can. Nobody can drive that boat like Ron Snyder can, and some of the great ones have been in it. As I said earlier in the day, Bill Muncy is one of them, George Henley as well. Again, a rooster tail lead for Snyder.
Come on.
Bernie Little's getting impatient. He wants his turbine to get out in front and stay there. Snyder and Kropfeld. They have had battles many times before. Back in 1984, as a matter of fact, put on a great show on this very course in Miami. The 711 again holding on to 3rd place, a 3-boat heat here under the threatening skies of Miami. We're going to get a thunder shower before it's over with. You still hear that that machine gun-like sound, the compressor stalling of the 711. Once they get that straightened out, probably when they get into fresh water up in Detroit in a couple of weeks, you will see a different 711. But in the meantime, Kropfeld starting to threaten the Miss Madison. Snyder still holding on to the inside, and here comes the Budweiser Turbine on the outside going down the back chute. Kropfeld and Snyder. Snyder on the inside. Here comes Ron back into first place. I don't believe what he's doing with that turbocharged Allison engine. Holding on to lane number 1. Going way wide is Kropfeld trying to stay away from that rooster tail of the Miss Madison, and now he has overtaken Ron and heading down the main straightaway. Yeah, Bernie breathing a little bit better now as his boat is in first place. Don't give up on Snyder just yet, though. I think you can figure it's a lock that these two boats will see each other again in the final. Kropfeld going for a perfect day. He'd get 400 points if he finishes this heat in first place. He would have 800 for the day. Steve Reynolds again looking for points rather than speed right now. The brand new Budweiser Turbine. First time it's raced in competition, first time in Miami, and it is an absolutely gorgeous boat coming down for the checkered flag, and it will be a close finish as the Budweiser Turbine. 400 points, first place, Heat 2A, and the Miss Madison with Ron Snyder second. So the 1-2 punch from the state of Ohio put on the best show so far in 1986, the Budweiser and the Miss Madison. Let's go down for a reaction in the pits with Jim Hendrick.
1-3, 1, 2, 3.
Let's find out now from Jim Kropfeld. What is this, the Battle of the Ohio Pig Farmers? You and the kid from Piqua?
Well, you know, Ronnie's a heck of a good driver, and I didn't know that his boat was running that fast, and it kind of surprised me there, and I was really pushing pretty hard. We had to kind of set up for a little smoother water than that, and it was kind of beating me up, and Ronnie got ahead of me a couple of times legitimately there, and we had to kind of lay on it a couple of times on the stretch. I had top end on him in acceleration, but he could turn right with me.
All right, I understand that your counterpart in that last battle is down there with Don Poyer right now. Don?
What it is.
Come here, young man.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, I call you young man. This is beginning to remind me of 1984 when you used to have those good old battles from the fellow guy from Ohio, Jim Kropfeld.
But this is Father's Day.
That's right, it is. Well, you should have won.
Good to me.
You had a little vibration in the first heat. You still won it. Has that been taken care of?
Yeah, it's been taken care of, but when Jim and I there was putting on a pretty good race, I was losing oil pressure, so I had to pull my foot. We did.
Engine change for the final then?
They're just going to check it out, and if it looks like it's okay, we'll go ahead and run this one.
Yeah. Keep going.
Right on. Thank you.
300 points already credited to the Miss Budweiser Griffin, looking for a first place in E2B, and that's coming up.